A very good afternoon again, and welcome to another installment of Practical Insights. I am your host, Wendell Jeffrey. Thank you for joining us. And in the studio with us today are two renowned, distinguished, eloquent gentlemen, and they are representing their party. I'm going to give them an opportunity to speak to the reasons they are here, with the intention of you understanding more about them, and of course they're seeking to get you to decide on what they have decided on. So without any further ado, let me welcome them to the studio. Mr.
Kibwe Copeland.
Kibwe Copeland,
yes,
welcome.
Nice. Wow.
You sound African, not only look it, I mean original African. And the mighty Dr. Dexter Todd. How are you doing, Doc?
Very well, man. Thank you so much for having us.
Gentlemen, welcome to Elections Insight. Welcome to the studio. You guys are here representing which party?
Partnership for National Unity.
Partnership for National
APNU.
Unity. All right, so Mr. Kibwe, I can start with you. I want you to look into the camera and tell the folks something that you don't think they know about you.
Well, for persons who don't know, I'm a poet. I started politics basically in 2010. I was one of the youngest regional councillors at RDC after 2011 elections. And I believe that politics found me. As a young person, I was in activism. I was doing things with young people, but never know that I would really got into politics and, got into that whole drive of actually want to be in service of people. And I think what I found while I started politics is that we need people to take the forefront, need people who are prepared to do the work on behalf of others. And it's not an easy job. It's not an easy job. And more than just that as well, I have a love of the arts. As I said, I'm a poet. I love anything concerning music, drama. I'm that kind of person. Beautiful. Very jovial.
Beautiful, beautiful. Doc, look, you're well known, but I'm thinking that there must be something. Maybe you don't like okra or something. Look at the camera and tell the folks something you think they don't know about you.
I don't think most people recognize, just like my brother said, that somehow we are all gifted. And for years, growing up, I've always been a very good singer. Yes. So I sing, I write songs. Haven't written for in a little while, but that still captures my relaxation moments when I want to unwind.
You sing to yourself?
Not, but I write. I write.
Oh, you write.
I write, and I love harmony. So I still find it a joy to listen to other people sing and harmonize with them in my background.
In the background.
Yes. Just to make sure I still have it. The knock is still there.
Yeah, but now that you talk about singing, you sound like you have the voice to sing.
You
hear like Kibwe. He had that tenor.
Yes,
crossover of tenor and bass there. All right, good, gentlemen. All right, Kibwe. Why APNU?
Well, APNU because it speaks for the people and through the people. A Partnership for National Unity is not just a party that is just seeking votes, but it's seeking to actually empower the small man, the middleman, and even the one at the top to keep the oils of this country running. Since I started politics with PNCR and then of course the APNU, what I've always recognized is our work has been wholly and solely with the people. It's not just been for personal gains, even when we talk about our manifesto that we've launched. That came from a process of being on the ground, communicating with people, listening to their concerns, taking their suggestions, putting that together, of course, with the expert views and how can we actually serve people. So the only reason why I would ask anyone to be a part or to support the APNU and why I campaign for the APNU, because I have that conviction, that belief that what we are doing is for the people, not just for some political game to seek power so we could become emperors or kings of this country.
Okay. Dr. Todd, why the APNU?
No, I've had a long time to search. This was never a desire to be involved in politics. Actually, I really thought that I would have stayed away from politics. But I believe for the years that I have been observing what is going on, I am not proud as a Guyanese. I believe that there is what I consider a lot of immature politicians. Partnership for National Unity presents, to my mind, the most mature politicians that you can ask for. Why do I say that? I have seen under the PPP that if an idea, it could be an excellent idea. If it doesn't come from their circle or it doesn't come from them, it's not good. And I wanted to be a part of a group. When you talk about inclusion, inclusion must go beyond politics. Guyana belongs to all of us. And if an idea comes from a non-person belonging to APNU, if that idea is good for Guyana, then let's go with it. And when from my interaction with the leader, Aubrey Norton, because he taught me at the university, so I've always been very fond of his intellect. He's been one of the lecturers that I recall during my first degree period that I could sit and listen to all day. I was always saying, how is it that this man is able to retain all these extracts from these books and is able to give you such excellent analytical piece, you know? And then when I said, when I went over to Freddie Kissoon's class, and then I realized that this class was a mess, I said, I now see why the university has kept Aubrey Norton in teaching the Paul 110, 120 class, because he got a lot more. But the important point that I want to make is that he has demonstrated that he is leading a team. And then when I got into the party per se, interacting with the members, I recognize that besides the issue of politics, they are more concerned about people, us as Guyanese, and wanting to nurture what we can develop and bring to Guyana. I said this is the right team.
All right. Tell me how, just a segue, given the fact that you spoke about your respect for Dr. Norton, Aubrey Norton, you challenged him for leadership, didn't you?
No.
You didn't?
No.
Okay.
I'm a babe in the party.
Okay.
How do I do that?
All right. I'm going to ask this question to you because we're coming up into another election cycle. And I heard Mr. Norton say that they're looking to make sure that these elections aren't rigged and there'll be consequences should they be rigged. Did the coalition lose the last election?
I would say no.
They didn't lose?
No. I said the PPP remained in power by a fluke. The irregularities that everyone knows, ballot boxes without documentations, votings, with dead people voting, persons out of the country.
I'm not going to really litigate this because it's you know, one of the things that peeves me.
Yes.
As a Guyanese, is that we have never had an election, I don't think, maybe except for one, where the loser said he lost. Which makes our country look like a banana republic, you know? When the PPP lost, they said they didn't lose. APNU lose, they said they didn't lose, you know? And I want to know why we bring in observers. We bring in what President Granger called them, interlocutors. And they pronounce. The observers pronounce on the elections, the interlocutors pronounce on the elections. And yet, a week before the next election, we can't have a consensus, if only because we ask these objective people. We bring them in and ask them to overlook. And they say, well, okay, from what we have seen, and still we here. But I'm not going to really litigate.
But you must understand that there are two different things here. You are talking about a team of observers who said, listen, every ballot must be counted. whether it's an illegitimate ballot or it is a valid ballot. It must be counted. The forum to discern what should have or should not have been done is the court, is the petitions court. We never got to the petitions court. And I'm telling you, had there been a case in which these simple, or not simple, but these same irregularities were, of course, somehow dealt with, I don't believe no court in the history of in any part of the world would have said that that is a valid elections.
You know, I worked actively as a journalist during the last election. And no less a person than the Honorable Basil Williams told me, I have it on record, video, that he has the statement of polls that show that they won. Basil Williams told me that with a camera in his face and a mic to his mouth, my mic. He told me that. And to date, Basil, none of you guys have produced the statement of polls that show you won. And I really didn't plan to really do this because I didn't want it. I just thought that you would have said,
No, it's quite all right. But the issue is, I believe if Basil said that, Basil has to have an opportunity to defend himself. Correct. You didn't hear that from me about statements of poll. I am telling you not what is the position of a party. I've never represented the position of a party. I have represented what GCOM said in relation to the irregularities. And I'm saying that those irregularities put before a court, no court of law can say that with those amount of irregularities that it was a free and fair elections. So they remained in office by a fluke.
A fluke of what?
Well, because of the fact that David Granger was not served. And therefore the petition was dismissed.
All right. All right. You got it off your chest. I'm having a discussion. Well, it's okay. You wanted to say something.
No, because I'm just saying that at the end of the day, we have not got a resolve.
Okay.
We have not got a resolve.
Okay.
Even at the level of the court, we have not got a resolve. We had the whole recount. We had a petition that was filed right after. Presently, we all know, even with the list that we have, the list that we've been working with for so many years, is a list that we need to change, a list that we need to update, right? The numbers don't make sense to anybody who does any form of math. It doesn't have to be a high-tech math with the population that we have in the country and the voters list. Correct. And that's one of the reasons why the APN has been very active about asking for clean voters list. So with those things, and I'm not going to talk too long on it because it's ready off his chest, right? For those simple reasons, we can't come to the decision that we've lost these elections. There's a lot on the table. There's a lot of things that we can say that this did not go well.
Okay. All right. I don't want to wear my journalistic hat because there's a lot of questions that come from that. But that's all right. Let's move. Let's move. No, I'm just. It's tempting. Go
ahead. Tough questions, man. I looked at the conference today, the press conference, and I said, but the GCOM should be able to be answering tough questions. I love tough questions. Yes, man.
All right.
You're a transparent party.
Yeah, yes. Okay. Kibwe, were you ever approached by another party to jump ship?
No.
No?
I've never been approached. I've never been approached by a party. I've got invitations to, like for example, the Manifesto launch, Manifesto consultation. They might send invitations out, but they actually send it out officially to me as the chairman of the Ghanaian Student Movement, the Ghanaian Party. But no one has approached me. I don't know if there's small ways to try to see how hostile or not hostile I am, but that's not something that would work.
Dr. Todd, have you ever gotten a formal invitation to join another party?
No, this is my first public participation in a political party, and so I've never been approached. As I said, I stayed away from politics.
Okay.
Active politics.
All right. Have any of you guys ever voted for another party other than APNU?
No, I have not. The first time I voted was so.
And the reason I'm asking is because I'm wondering if there's any, I don't want to say objectivity, but if there's any swing swing votalization in you? Do you ever, yeah, you like that word, right? Doc, if you use it, I'm going to sue you.
I like you.
I'm going to sue you. No, because
Patches on
for
it.
me, when you look at Guyana, you know, to me, there's always room for reconsideration of your ideology. At least for me, I lived overseas, and so there's that. I voted. I was a part of the team that voted the PPP out of power in 2015. I was proud of that. Of course, I was later disappointed. but yeah. So I kind of vote issues more than ideologies, and so I guess that you guys are more forming your ideologies so much so that the issues justify your ideologies. That is obvious.
I would say no. I would say it's balance. For me, of course, there's a lot of bias maybe when it comes to the ideology of the PNC, right? This foundation coming forward. I'm fond of that. But more than that, if we talk policies, I believe that the APNU, and I've seen it over the years, have always brought more solid policies. There's always been more detail. Right? It's not like surface kind of policies. And when we talk about looking at other parties, yeah, the AFC had some good approaches, and that's why we had a coalition in 2015, right? But the PPP, of course, more than even if they put things on paper, they have a culture of just putting things to capture people. But really and truly, they've never fulfilled any. So the APNU I've seen after 2015 to 2020, fulfillment. Of course, they did not do everything because time is the essence. We're talking about, you know, a whole country and different issues. But I've seen fulfillment of their policies. And I've seen people, I've worked along with people who for sure are able and willing to actually act upon what they put out there.
Okay. Doc, you want to say anything?
Listen, my understanding of both the PPP and the PNC is that I think I understand their political philosophies. There is not a lot of difference. What seems to have always captured my attention is the issue of leadership. I always look, because if you look at the manifesto, everybody's promising similar things.
Slightly similar things.
You know, I mean, come on. There is only, when you look at what and how Guyana can grow, it's similar. But the problem has always been for me identifying who seems to be a more competent leader to lead this country. And I don't, it's not an issue of being biased. The PNC has always, and I'm giving you the reason why I've always voted that. The PNC has always presented a candidate as the leader of the party, as the presidential candidate that captures the essence of a true leader. And I've not seen, I mean, my time of looking at Barajak deal is that there were some good initiatives, I believe. There were some good initiatives. But somehow, I did not believe that he had the ability to command the togetherness of the people, bring the people together, and really serve all people. I didn't see that in him. Irfan is, I think, he appears to be a people's person. And that might be evident from the fact that he has done less office hours and more in the street, in the people, which when compared to David Granger once said, okay, well, I didn't see him that often. So there are strengths and weaknesses in all the leaders. But again, Irfan has not, to my mind, been able to command that level of leadership quality that I believe he has earned the respect at all different fields.
Good. So let me segue, because I'm glad you asked that. I actually had a question here in that classification. If you look at what President Ali has been able to do together with the General Secretary for the PPP, with the Afro-Guyanese crossover, not only members of the AFC and members of the PNC, but they moving into the PNC strongholds across Region 4. If you were to compare and contrast the ability for President Ali to bring people over from the APNU and then contrast that with Dr. Norton, I'll call him Dr. Norton, Dr. Norton's ability to cross over people from the PPP into the PNC, who you think has the upper hand, and I'm using that term loosely, and why?
Now, Ali is using a state apparatus. When they see when you hear them going into our strongholds and you see there, maybe people are there and they're not getting that much rejection, it's because they have utilized the state, police, the cameras, and everything in their power to muzzle people. You see these big crowds. A lot of people, I've talked to some who put on the jerseys, who are out there, who said, "Bye, I got to eat. My job depends on it. My contract depends on it." Whereby these same people communicate with us to say, "You know what? We are with you, but how things are in this political climate right about now, it is hard for me to come out and say, Aubrey Norton." We've seen police officers who can actually go to work with a PPP jersey and go back to work the next day. Let them try to put on a green one and see what happens. So in a situation whereby they're utilizing their state power, utilizing this bullyism way in which, of course, is moved the VP onto the puppet finale to control people, to coerce people. They've also go into communities whereby they have persons who they have either information on or are gullible. They give them finances and they say, "Look, share, get people out," right? So I believe that it is not a genuine crossover, or it's not a genuine support that we're seeing. A lot of it is fanfare. A lot of it is just putting glitter on walls or paint on dirty wood, right? And I'm not carried away by it, and that's what we've been continuously telling our people. We don't feel threatened by it because we know the truth. These people communicate with us. They say, "Look, I had a friend, she put up a poster, and she called me saying, 'I know you see my poster, but listen to me. I work in this place, but I'm there with y'all.'" She didn't have to call, but she had to make that very clear. So, I'm not taken by it, but the APNU is also not taken back by it. Even to the ones who crossed over, most of them either joined the party very recently and had personal ambitions, or they've been given certain kinds of gifts. But I believe Aubrey Norton, he has been keeping in touch with people. He is a man who always like to keep things to his chest, including all the people who are supporting him but cannot publicly support him. And I think we move in that same direction.
Okay. Doc, you want to talk to that issue a little bit?
I love to answer that one. The PPP, under the leadership of Ali and Barajati, have practicalized in this society what I considered as not only an ideology, but they have demonstrated that I will show you what being out in the cold means. This entire society that has been languishing in poverty, left, right, and center. The idea of you being, you see this one Guyana? It has significant connotations to the political psychology of the PPP. If you're not with me, you're against me. Many of the people, if not all of the people, who have crossed over are people who have said to themselves, "I don't think we can beat them, I might as well join them." That is not political leadership. That is not a leader. They have not gone over. Let me tell you something. None of the persons who cross over don't admire Irfan Ali or Barajati as being outstanding leaders. They join them because they recognize that, listen to me, they have shown them, you come to us, that's the only way you're going to eat. People are so much in poverty in this country that people prefer to forget about who got politics and who is a part of a political party, and they prefer to go over so that they can survive.
You think it's more expediency than admiration?
Of course.
Definitely.
Of course. It's an act of survival.
But I interviewed James Bond, who admires President Ali.
Recently?
Yeah. He admires President Ali.
He always had that view?
Of his admiration. Probably he didn't always speak to it, but he probably always had it. It probably was a latent view that he had, and has now become bold enough and born enough to speak to something that he always wanted to speak about. In fact, one of the first public comments he made on the issue was that he and our friend were always friends, and that he always admired him, and that he was endorsing him for a second term. So could it be that he always admired him? Because again, we're talking about, and this question sprung from my asking to compare and contrast Dr. Norton and Dr. Ali, their ability, to win that charismatic effervescence that they both should have, and which one had it more. And I'm hearing from you, Kibwe, that you're saying that you don't think that what we're seeing from Dr. Irfan Ali is genuine, while what you're seeing, even though you're not seeing much of it from Norton, is genuine. That you're making a comparison.
I agree. I think Norton has not only been able to attract a large population of the intellectuals here, he has been able to attract the grassroots people. He's been able to attract a large amount of people who understand the issues. Norton has never missed an issue. He speaks to issue. He doesn't only speaks to the issue, he gives you the historical makeup of the issue, and then he gives solutions. And many people are definitely on board with his solutions. My brother said very clearly that what you're seeing is that many people, because of the amount of victimization, etc., many people are not coming out boldly and saying, I am endorsing, because we have a number of reports of people who have attempted to support the APNU, who've been fired from their jobs. And those are things that we are going to address and have them restored to their positions immediately within our first term, first couple of days in office. You know why? Because those are as what we consider as grave injustices. In this time of political campaigning and etc., persons should be allowed to exercise their democratic right and to express their views and their support for a political party. That's not what's happening in Ghana.
Right. Explain to me, in light of this discussion that we've had for the last few minutes, the Azruddin effect, the Muhammad effect. Who is Muhammad's win party affecting more? The PNC APNU or the PPP party, and why?
No, I believe that Azruddin, of course, came into the elections, and he's always been a popular man, a billionaire. When he brought the Lamborghinis and so on, he's always had a crowd. And I believe, of course, he is affecting the PPP. We can start there. You've seen how they've constantly tried to stop him, to cut him down, to pull him down. And that shows that they're scared of his actions. He's gone into their strongholds and gained support. We've also, of course, been able to rally up those we will call young people who might not be eligible to vote, who might have not voted before, and he'd be able to have this kind of crowd and this kind of wave, whatever it may be. I believe that when it comes to the PNC, the APNU, our base is solid. There is, of course, this cloud because there's a lot of people. But we've checked these crowds, and we've been around these crowds. We've seen a lot of them not voters. A lot of them, of course, I've seen persons even on nomination day who went out to get a T-shirt because, they say, things sharing over there, right? So I see a similar thing to what the PPP would, or the similar PPP approach. We are not scared of Muhammad. The APNU believe that our campaign is a solid one. Our campaign has its strength, which is in the people, which is in the communities, and a lot in the public sector, and which is one of the main areas that the Ali government strangles. So they are very not so vocal. We believe, of course, Azruddin, of course, adds to the elections. He adds in some aspect to the race, and he will affect the elections. But we are not moved that he will affect our chances of taking power after the 1st of September. That's what we're clear about.
Doc, What is your internal polling showing you based on the amount of seats that you think Azruddin will get?
But I don't. Listen. Azruddin is a competitor in these elections. I think any smart politician is going to recognize that the race is not over until it's over. And that one should not become very comfortable and complacent and not think that there is a possibility that there can be infiltration into the APNU's base. What we have been doing, while we are cognizant of that fact, is still maintaining to speak to our people, to ensure that our people are informed, they are educated, and they are ready to put us in government. Now, I believe, from what this has nothing to do with the party's position. I don't know of a party doing an internal poll on how much Azruddin. I don't know that we have the time to do that. All right. What we have been focusing on is campaigning for ourselves. But if he gets 1 seat or 2 seats, that is not something that we are going to sit to calculate. What we know for sure is that we are continuing to treat not only the PPP, but Azruddin and any other political party as a threat. And we are definitely campaigning down that line.
The AFC's leader, Nigel, has said that he is open to working with the Mohammed's party should they get into office. Is the APNU open to working with Azruddin? Should he get some votes, or should he become the next president of Guyana?
At this point in time, our focus is on winning the elections on the 1st of September. From the inception, when we were in the phase of collaborating, coalitions and coalescing and so on, that did not work out. We had the AFC and the APNU back and forth, which of course was squashed. Azruddin already made his decision very clear that he's not collating with the APNU, AFC, and he had his own talks when it comes to the PPP. At this point in time, our focus is towards the 1st of September within government. After that, whatever will happen, and that was things that we would not say now.
Before you close the door finally, I want Dr. to speak to the issue.
No, you see, our democratic framework in Guyana, our constitution, makes provisions for the involvement of all Guyanese. When the elections are over, we don't see Azruddin and his support, Mr. Hughes and his party, the PPP and their party. We don't see them as political parties. We see them as Guyanese. And therefore, they are stakeholders who we believe that there are going to be opportunities to collaborate and to involve. Not a shut door approach. We believe that the development of Guyana is important, and it requires the support and the ideas and the energy and the freshness of everybody. And that is why I continue to say, I said it before, but I come back to say, Aubrey Norton is is in this race the most mature politician I can see. That thinks down that line, that Guyana is too big. Where after elections, this is going to be a seat in which we all can be involved. We're not going to be asking persons, are you a PPP? So that you can't have a job or you can't have a particular idea. No, that is over.
Would it work all the way to the top where it forms part of some kind of a shared governance approach to administering the country?
It doesn't have to be considered in the bracket of shared governance. But when I talk about participation, I'm thinking there are a number of constitutional boards. Those type of democratic framework, which has always been there in the law, to have the vote. And these are going to be real boards, real commissions, not the ones in which it's just set up for the optics, but it's actually not functioning. It's going to be functional bodies.
And we need opposition. We need opposition. We need good opposition. Every government, any person, any party that takes government should be a government for all people. despite whatever is your political affiliations or views, etc. But we need the right party up there to actually spearhead this country and to make sure that they can be very inclusive. We've not seen it under the PPP. We've seen it under the APNU. APNU showcased coalition. The PNC, 1964, with Tough, we have started with coalition. We have a track record of coalition.
You sure you want to bring that? You sure you want to go?
Making a general comment.
Yeah. The coalition was in government for 5 years. There were some missteps. What do you tell the public now who is trying to determine who they should choose? How would you guarantee, or what would you suggest to make them think or believe that some of those blatant missteps would not be made again? Let me highlight a couple of them. Vote for the young people, and Granger made a mess of that. Made a mess of sugar, made a mess of rice. I'm calling it big thing that helped him to win in 2015. How does a person who want to vote for you, who want to cross over to vote for you, what kind of guarantees do you offer them that what happened then would not happen again this time?
You said he made a mess of sugar, made a mess of rice.
And young people.
Young people.
Three main things. Yeah.
I'm going to start with young people. The aspect of sugar, I think that's an argument that is, you try to diversify the sugar estates because we understand the world is more health conscious and sugar is not so popular. So there's a more technical conversation. But let's go to the youth aspect.
All right.
If you notice, that's our candidates list. The list has a balance of youth, experience, and people, of course, or the technocrats, would say. And if you analyze the leader, our presidential candidate, Aubrey Norton, as a man who started at 15 years old as the YSM as a youth leader, and as the presidential vice youth empowerment, he showcased a great interest in empowering young people. His team at the youth empowerment unit was young people. He rolled out a lot of programs for young people. And if you look at this present structure of the People's National Congress Reform, from the chairman, the vice chairpersons, and so on, they're young people. Nobody's above 45 or above 50. It shows that we already have young people who are in place at leadership positions, right? Myself, a young person, Dexter Todd, a young person. And these are the people. And we know, of course, Granger, of course, and every government makes mistakes. You don't expect no government to go in and not make mistakes. But also every party has a chance to rewrite those wrongs. And we would have learned from that, right? As a young person, I would not be a part of the APNU if I know we can do the same thing or do something that I know that affected young people as a youth advocate. So I am more than confident, and you can look at certain factors of our party makeup or list and what you've seen on the campaign trail or speakers and so on. We will have a government that will make sure there are young people in place, there are senior people, and there are experienced people who can be, there's a need for that fusion to move any government forward.
Listen, let me be the devil's advocate. I was not a part of the David Granger administration, and therefore I was just an ordinary citizen. From my own perspective, and I speak from my heart, I have been asking, when people talk about David Granger messing up plans, etc., for young people, I ask them, can you really elaborate and get down to the point? Because what we have been told and what I have observed is that there were a few young persons, who believed that having won the elections, it created an entitlement for them to be ascended to certain very high offices. That didn't happen, and they believed that was a failure. But one cannot generalize this by just looking at that one instant. When you look at the amount of training, public service training, the amount of young people who were trained, when you look at how sports development and athletes were given, those were things for young people. Now you talk about the issues of sugar. There has been one preached message. My observation is that the government came into a failed industry. They're seeing bailouts upon bailouts, taxpayers' money going upon taxpayers' money, but you can't show profitability. Now, if one is to say maybe the approach to how that should have been done in terms of the diversification, that it should have taken a different approach, maybe they have a point. I don't know, because I was not sitting there and a part of the discussion. But is that to say that the decisions made by the APNU, AFC at that time were not good decisions? I think they were good decisions.
Okay. Let me tell you. Maybe we drill down too deep. What I'm asking is, in order for the APNU to win, you have to win with crossover votes, and the votes that caused the AFC APNU to win in 2015. Part of the votes included a preponderance of young people, rice farmers, and sugar farmers.
Okay.
And I'm saying that if you're going to do a 2015 and 2025, you're going to need some of those same people. If they're listening to you, what are you telling them? That's what I'm saying.
All right.
Right? So I'm saying a guy is sitting down there and he's young. And he remember President Granger saying that government is not supposed to provide jobs for young people. He said it, something to that effect. So even though you can say that it was maybe hard feelings with some young people who thought they should have gotten position, he staffed his cabinet and positions with all retired generals from the army and stuff like that. The young people felt it. Rice people heard they can get one price a party, and then when he got in, he said rice is private. So these people are sitting down there listening to you.
Right.
We're not relitigating that. What is this new? You spoke, Kibwe, about the RB's youthfulness and the fact that you young and Dexter, you young, and so the young people are making up a very significant part of this new wind that is blowing in APNU. How do you speak to the crossover people who you need? What do you tell them? Because
the plans of the APNU for young people are far superior than any of the other plans. You have issues in relation to plans in relation to owning your own home. That has moved down from 18 years old. 18 years old and up, you can own your own land. You have an issue of single mothers. A significant portion of them are young people. You have an opportunity for them to have their own homes being supported and built by government.
What are you telling the rice people?
No, I'm getting to there. I'm getting to there. When you talk about agriculture, support for agriculture, I see that the one of the main issues is an issue of insurance. How do you provide for them? That's a part of the plan of our manifesto. This, you see, development or the diversification of agriculture moves to every single region. There is not going to be I believe, a hog-washed approach to this. It's a very detailed, calculated approach to develop. And that is because of the fact that I think what people want is an opportunity to not only recognize that they have concerns, but to see a leader and a group of persons who can work those issues to solutions. And so rice farmers are not going to be disadvantaged at all. Rice farmers are going to be definitely, because you have to look at increasing their productivity. You have to look at being able to market them internationally, so that at the end of the day, their packaging and their ability to do business at an international stage is going to increase. All of that is a part of the plan in which is there. So at the end of the day, it is more money. So it is using a portion of the oil resource to develop those agricultural industries. And so none of them will be left behind.
And just to add to what he's saying, he made a very good point. Use the oil resources. Our government is going to take some risk for people. That's why when we talk about people-centered approach, it's actually people-centered. We're talking about, look, we understand that there are difficulties, maybe in the rice industry or the sugar industry, whatever industry it may be. And we prepared to take some of the risk. We prepared to make soft loans available to people who might not meet the full criteria, but to work with them, to see how we could make them, make them into best business people, whether it be small or micro or macro businesses. So it's about us taking the risk for our people. We have the resources. And once we could cut down the level of corruption that this country has, and that's, people always say, how are we going to fund all these things? How are we going to put all these monies in people's pockets? The money is there. The money is being wasted every day. I can give you an example. Look at this Abibaka Road. The Abibaka Road, the 1.45 billion Abibaka Road, has started since in 2022 in August. It's supposed to finish in 2020. It's supposed to finish in 2023. It's 2025. It has not been finished. And only up to the 8th of August, the Minister of Public Works, Edgil, said that he has now put some more resources into it because of how the contractors have been doing the work. They have not done proper feasibility studies, and they continue to waste billions and billions of dollars. Every contract might have a leeway to add some more money, depends on the contract, but they continue to, sometimes you're doing 2 contracts in one. And what the APNU will make sure we do is to make sure there's proper feasibility studies, there's proper planning, there's proper persons, and make sure we empower contractors who are not just here because we could eat the food, but you're qualified. If you're not qualified, we help qualify you. So it cuts the corruption and helps to put more money around.
Again, I want to put that my I don't want to drill down on something. I'm hearing things I'm saying.
The truth of the matter is you don't even have the time.
Hold it back.
You don't even have the time.
Huh? Yeah. Let me ask, as we come to the top of the hour here, how do you see your party helping to reduce the racial animosity that raises its ugly head, particularly around election time? But what kind of strategies do you have that you'll put in place to try to alleviate this racial tension that we have in this country? Doc?
I think is, firstly, allowing persons to understand that their identity is important. Our leader has been very intent in relation to ensuring that culture is nurtured properly, it's developed, it's packaged, and it's presented in a very positive way. And I believe that is connected to the identity of all our ethnic groups, so that one does not have to feel somehow left behind, or one doesn't have to feel as though my culture, my identity, my ethnicity is being second guessed, or it's being left for second. All ethnic groups, I think, together in relation to who they are. So when you look at the Indians, we are looking at ensuring from a very cultural standpoint that there is more pumped in and more recognition to their identity and their culture, which we can embrace. Africans, Amerindians, Chinese. And I believe that once persons recognize that we are different ethnic groups, but that doesn't separate us. Our identity and the richness of our identity and culture is what attracts the others. And I believe once we have that respect, I believe it's under the PNC. I mean, you might know more history than me. I believe it's under the PNC that there has been significant recognition to various ethnic groups and their holidays and their
1972 to be exact.
So my thing is, there has always been a recognition of supporting identity of the ethnic groups. And I believe bringing our people together, and we've seen that by the compilation of APNU, we have representation of all the ethnic groups, which are coming together. But that's not a facade. That's not for show. It is a sincere belief by the party. It's a philosophy of the party that our people must feel comfortable in their skin. And that, you know what keeps, to my mind, again, I don't speak on the position of the party, but I speak as an observer, independent observer. I am saying that one of the things that has kept racial tension in Guyana is the fact that one ethnic group sees that another ethnic group propels, excels, expands more, and they are left behind. So the whole issue of ethnicity has a lot to do with coming back to the issue of economic opportunities, etc. And so all of that will be addressed, because when we talk about equality, it means that you don't have to be considering that I need to look at the color of my skin in order to be qualified for a position, in order to get a contract, in order to get an opportunity. All of that level of corruption, I believe, will be eradicated.
All right. Before I ask you the final question, as you talk, I listen to learn. The racial tension dates back from almost on the foundation of us as an independent. So it's nothing new. So it happened for 28 years under the PNC with Burnham.
Where did it stem from?
That's what I'm saying. No, so it's not. What I'm saying it's not something new. And if it happened for 28 years with Burnham as president, what was the causative factor then? And if he was the president, so you see, so in my mind, I'm still trying to find.
I know you're saying it, but you can't just limit it to just the Burnham era.
No.
You said from that time?
No, I was saying from that time, because I'm saying it continues.
Yes,
right.
Yes,
the premise of my
yes.
question is that it continues, and I was asking, what does the APNU, this new breath of fresh air that comes with the APNU, is it a deliberate? Are you going to be placing deliberate focus on it? And if so, what will be that focus?
If I may, if I may, just quickly, we have a track record again of starting the first social cohesion ministry, right?
We know.
Anyhow, but that's
Okay,
before you
right.
get into journalism. Now let me go deeper. Right? We have to put the elephant out in the open, the elephant in the room. It has to be discussed. It has to be.
Correct.
You cannot just sweep it under the
Correct.
carpet until elections come
Correct.
again.
Correct.
As an advocate of people of African descent, there's another capital hole.
Yeah.
This is something that we'll be talking about.
Yeah.
We have to continue to talk about. We have to face that uncomfortableness of racism in this country.
Yes. You know, we have if I might, Trinidad and Guyana has a similar situation. When you go to Trinidad airport, all the presidents in life-size splashed across the international airport there.
Yes.
Why we can't do stuff like that? No party does it. So anyhow, let me segue. We come to the top of the
Well, we have never had an Aubrey Norton presidency.
It's a different. But you notice
it's a different thing. Yes.
But you notice I said that there's a breath of fresh air.
Oh,
You hear me
yes.
say that, right?
Guyana will breathe again. Guyana will breathe again.
You heard me say, because it sounds like a rebirth, like it is. There should be the APNUR.
Yes.
All right. Gentlemen, give me two things. We're out of time, but I'm going to allow for it. Give me two things that you think should be pivotal. I know that your manifesto has a ton of it, but two things that should be pivotal as we move into this election, that the electorate should be focusing on and thinking about as they move to that ballot box on September 4th.
I know we've been talking this thing about homes and free house lots and so on very often. And yeah, it's clear once you're from 18 up and you're under $400,000, you get a free house lot. And we have the turnkey policy whereby you have a house that we'll build, you rent it, and it comes to the amount of money, you own that home. But more than just homes, one of the things that we've had in Guyana is whereby you just have a house lot. Sometimes the development comes 5 years after. The APNU is going to make sure we create communities. And creating communities is more than just the infrastructure. It's putting, of course, the right infrastructure, the right homes, the right facilities, not just a space that, just 2 feet away is a neighbor yard, right? But give you some, even if you want to do farming and so on, make sure that the community facilities are there, like the playgrounds, the health centers, etc. And more than that, it's about making people feel comfortable. Guyana is our birthright. The PP doesn't have the transport right. We always try to say this here. And I believe that when you go to those polls as individuals, you have to think about not just yourself, but your children, your grandparents, your future. And what kind of life did you want to live? We've lived in Guyana, I've lived in Guyana. A lot of the things that we see in here, we don't have to say it, People live it. We just reminding people of the reality that they say. But people, of course, are clouded by the pressures of the day. Every day there's something.
All right.
So I think once you take that deep reflection.
The house lot is a big.
I think it's very big because everybody deserves shelter.
All right, Doc, you wanna?
I think the takeaway for me is the issue of safety. I believe that our people should be able to not only walk the streets, but we should have a security structure where a police force, who we believe has been politicized, will be depoliticized, and that they will be able to function and to do their work. Because that is important for society, where people recognize that when we walk on the road, I mean, we can build all type of fancy roads and hospitals and schools and hotels and so on. If we're not alive, then how do we enjoy it? And that is important. And so when we go back to the issue of how we have seen the administration dealt with the Adriana Young's matter, it's an eye-opener to see the right through a police force where they started with lies, where there was more protection of a property than searching for a little child. We want to change all of that. We have had too many unresolved crimes in Guyana, in which persons are still calling for justice. We have had them in Linden, we have had them in Berbice, we'll have them on the West Coast, in Georgetown,
Mahdia.
all right, in Mahdia. All these matters have created one thing: our society is not safe. And so safety is very, very important. And I'm not even going to the issue of or territorial threat, which I believe APNU presents a more competent team and plan to deal with that, because that's very, very important. I saw one comment that AFN presents a better leadership in that. Listen, the better team, if you look at it, as a journalist, look at it. Where are all the former brigadiers and ex-chiefs? Where are they? PPP has one. Where are the others?
Be careful now.
No, where are the others?
Where are the others?
No, I'm asking.
No, I'm asking the questions here.
I am telling you. I am telling you. They're right there with the APN.
Right
there with the
be careful.
So I am saying,
Right.
no. I am telling you.
Yeah.
I am telling you. When you talk about the people with the experience and knowledge in relation to how to deal with this territorial controversies,
Okay.
you would recognize that the team that can be put in place are far more superior in experience than what the PPP presents.
All right, good. Gentlemen, just let me do this. This wasn't, you kind of wind down, but I want to give you a wind down moment. So take a half a minute, look in the camera, and talk to one person. Tell them why they should vote for the APNU. Kibwe, you go.
I want to talk to the young man who has to work all day. You have children to feed, but you're an athlete. You have this great burning desire to be, to play football nationally or to, run track. But you can't do it effectively at the same time take care of your family and survive. Under the APNU, we will give you full sponsorship, means you don't have to work. You'll be paid to just do what you love to do. And you'll also get the insurance in case of any injuries. We'll take care of you. Young athlete, that young boy, that young girl, that young athlete, that's what the APNU not only promises, but we've committed to do after the 1st of September.
Thank you, Kibwe. Dr. Todd?
I'm telling you, clearly, service is very, very important. Many of you don't understand that a government is the servant of the people. You are really the employers. And you need to employ a team that will serve you, that will look out for you. That is what APNU presents. A team of persons who understand service and how to service people. And that is why when you look at our manifesto, you will recognize that every single plan is geared towards putting you first. This is why it's a people-centered development program that we're going to be presenting right through our term in office. That will benefit you, that will benefit your generations, that will allow you to leave a legacy. And more importantly, you will be safe. You will get to nurture and develop your ideas, and that is why for young people there are lots of programs, not only the issue of free university, but giving you stipend to continue to so encourage you and motivate you to learn and to develop your skills. Our technology programs for our young people, we are in that age, it is superior to any that you will know about. And I ask you, time will not permit us to go to every single point, but please do take time before this election and read our manifesto. It's important for you.
Thank you very much. Kibwe Copeland.
Yes.
My brother. Dexter,
Thank you.
Doctor.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you. And we want to thank you so much for joining us on Elections Insights. Thanks for joining. Until the next installment, stay blessed. Bye-bye.